And now, the best 60-ish seconds of your week. With just 3 days remaining before the historic midterm elections, you can't escape chatter about who will control the United States Congress come January, which will be determined on Tuesday. And last week, we gave you a brief overview of the race for the United States Senate, where Democrats, by incidence, are defending 26 seats this time, 10 of those in states that were carried by Donald Trump 2 years ago, and half of those in states that he carried by double digits, big margins, and where he remains very popular, giving the Republicans a optimistic view of Tuesday and hopes that they will actually pick up seats to increase their slim majority in the Senate. There are an awful lot of those seats, though, that have shifted into true toss-up category, so it's going to be very interesting to watch Tuesday night. We promised a look at the House of Representatives this week, where all 435 seats are up. And interestingly, 44 retirements or resignations on the Republican side make that especially hotly contested, because Democrats have to pick up 23 seats. In other words, they have to flip 23 seats in the House of Representatives in order to take control in January. And they have three things at this point going on their side. One, history. As you know, midterm elections have been tough on the party that controls the White House. Going back to the Civil War, the average loss has been about 30 seats. Barack Obama managed to lose more than 60 in his first term election. And they have this enthusiasm gap, which has existed up until recently. Although there's a lot of talk now that the Republicans have actually eclipsed the Democrats in terms of their voter intensity. But those open seats, which are always the opportunity for pickup or for switches, loom very large. 44 Republican retirements, resignations, or running for other offices have caused openings there, and the Democrats have targeted literally half of them. Obviously, I can't go through all 435 congressional seats, so what I'll do is focus on my home state of Pennsylvania, which is really kind of a microcosm of what's going on nationally with these retirements, resignations, and running for other office, because in Pennsylvania, literally more than 1/3 of our delegation is not coming back in January through retirements, resignation, running for other office, etc. And Democrats believe that they have a real opportunity to pick up several of those seats currently held by Republicans, most notably the 1st Congressional District, a challenge situation against Brian Fitzpatrick, the incumbent. I believe that Fitzpatrick prevails, but by a relatively small margin, much smaller than would ordinarily be expected. Democrats believe that they can pick up the seat being vacated by Pat Meehan, the new 5th Congressional District, the seat being vacated by Ryan Costello, the 6th Congressional District, and the one being vacated by Charlie Dent, the 7th Congressional District. All three of those, quite honestly, look like they're leaning Democrat in big ways right now and are likely to go that way. Republicans had hoped to pick up the seat being vacated by Charlie Dent, particularly because the Democrats nominated a pretty left-wing candidate there, but a inept campaign on the part of the Republican candidate there has left that one very, very vulnerable. I think it probably goes to the Democrats. Likewise, the seat out in western Pennsylvania, the 17th Congressional District, where Congressman Keith Rothfuss, a really stalwart and strong member of Congress, has just had an uphill battle from the very beginning against the star power of Connor Lamb, left over from his nationally televised victory in a special election in the spring against Rick Saccone. Democrats also believe they can pick up 3 other seats in Pennsylvania and have made a concerted effort to go after them. In the 10th district where I live, in the 11th district next door, which is occupied currently by Lloyd Smucker, and in the 16th congressional district up in northwestern Pennsylvania. I don't believe that they take any of those seats, although they've made very strong challenges with a lot of outside money. I think ultimately the Republican candidates, Perry, Smucker, and Kelly, prevail. Republicans thought they could pick up a Democratic seat against Congressman Cartwright up in the northeast part of the state and along the northern tier. I think that's likewise a very difficult situation for them to overcome, because incumbency really does have its advantages. One thing that hasn't been focused on terribly much over the course of this campaign are governorships, where 36 governors are up for election, and kind of the mirror opposite of what's going on in the U.S. Senate, where Republicans have to defend 26 plus one independent that leans Republican up in Alaska seats. And you're going to see Democrats pick up governorships. What's very important to notice about those seats is that the governors really are the building blocks for 2020 for a whole lot of reasons, not the least of which is reapportionment, which is going to take place during the course of the terms of every one of those governors elected on Tuesday. And in most states, governors have power over the reapportionment process. They also have tremendous fundraising ability, and they also have tremendous political organization ability. And because of our electoral college system, individual states weigh much larger than broad political constituencies. So let me just say this in closing, since we're right before Tuesday. The power of one vote was seen here in Pennsylvania 40 years ago, where our state legislature, effectively the largest in the country, was tied on election night 101 to 101 with one seat that was going to determine who controlled the General Assembly in January. And that one seat was a tie. Some of the prognosticators and statisticians said that the likelihood of that happening were equivalent to winning the Powerball. But ultimately, that logjam was broken. Republicans took control of the General Assembly. But the power of one vote is so important. So please make sure that you're out there on Tuesday to exercise a God-given right and a constitutional freedom that many around the world envy. And for now, that is the best 60-ish seconds of your week.